Hello and welcome to It's Free IP. I'm your host Felix Chaplin, and I'm brimming with excitement to announce that the channel's revamp is finally here. This time, on top of making content about the public domain, we will now also be making new shows using public domain characters. If you'd like to know what the deal is with the show's name, be patient, I'll get to it. On November 10th, 1969, preschool-age children around the U.S. were introduced to a revolutionary new TV show that used puppets to teach them letters and numbers. That show, of course, is Sesame Street. This iconic TV show that is so fondly remembered by many in my generation has a very interesting history, but I'd like to focus on its mission, filling an educational gap. Preschool was, and still is, inaccessible to poor families in some places because of the cost, and this show that provided that education on TV for free prepared many children to enter the first grade. This show and its impacts have been thoroughly studied, and it has been shown to be effective in achieving its goals. Fast forward to October 1st, 2018, when children in Australia were introduced to a new cartoon that had one of the same goals as Sesame Street: teaching life skills. This new show takes more of a slice-of-life approach to teaching its lessons. The episodes are much shorter, and it puts a lot of emphasis on imaginative play. The show, of course, is Bluey. I'm personally unaware of any studies that have been done on Bluey's effects, but I've heard anecdotes about kids applying what they learned on the show to their lives, with some American kids even using Australian terms. Preschool-age children get a lot of educational shows made for them, but thanks to the changes in the American education system that shifted the focus to standardized tests, and with education spending being cut routinely, many public schools no longer offer any vocational or life skills classes. It has become a meme at this point that an American high school student knows that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but doesn't know how taxes work. These changes have created a new education gap, and the new show coming to It's Free IP was designed to fill it. The characters of this show are all pre-existing public domain characters, with only one exception. That exception is Tommy, pictured here between Julius and Felix. Here you can see the main cast. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit's name has been shortened to Ozzy, and Winnie the Pooh is named Eddie Bear. Why Eddie Bear, you ask? Well, let's take a look at A.A. Milne's 1926 book, Winnie the Pooh. Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh, some bees, and the stories begin. Here is Edward Bear, coming downstairs now, bump, 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 behind Christopher Robin. There you go. Right there in the first sentence of the first chapter of the first book. It also has an introduction that explains the origin of the name Winnie the Pooh and that the bear was originally named Edward, so that's what we're going with. One of the members of the Winnie the Pooh cast that isn't pictured here is Owl. Rather than having a voice actor, his voice will come in the form of recordings of Tom Lehrer. Here you can see Christopher Robin from the Winnie the Pooh cast with Olive Oyl and Harold Hamgravy. Who's Harold Hamgravy? He was Olive Oyl's fiancé in the Thimble Theater comic strip from 1919 to Popeye's introduction in 1929. Popeye himself is still copyrighted for the time being, but Olive Oyl and Harold Hamgravy are free IP. The last set of characters is the Crazy Cat cast, consisting of Crazy, Officer Pup, and Ignatz Mouse. They're from a comic strip that ran from 1913 to 1944, which was about the titular Crazy Cat being in love with Ignatz Mouse. Ignatz responds by throwing bricks at Crazy, who in turn interprets it as a sign of affection. Officer Pup, who is in love with Crazy, often arrests Ignatz for throwing bricks. This comic strip was far ahead of its time in that Crazy is canonically non-binary. While most previous adaptations have settled on making Crazy male or female, this show will retain Crazy's non-binary gender. This show will be audio only for the time being. If it gets enough support, we can improve upon it. Maybe even get more writers involved or something. Now to finally address the elephant in the room. Why is this show called Pussyville? Well, if you take a look at Felix the Cat's debut cartoon, Feline Follies, from 1919, you'll see in the very beginning that it takes place somewhere called Pussyville. For those of you commenting that the show's title doesn't fit since the characters aren't all cats, if you watch the rest of the short, you'll see that humans live there too. Anyway, we hope you enjoy the new stuff we have in store. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of our new videos. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.